Hello, 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 and welcome to the Bada Show. We're back! Oh my god, thank God! We're back! I'm Dave. That's Chris. How are you?
Episode 35.SRY.
Yes, exactly. You know what?
Holy smokes, what a snake bit
I
episode.
said I was going to title it with a dot SRY,
It
and I just didn't have the courage or the bravery to do it.
would be hard to find in the bins afterwards, so.
Yeah, yeah, perhaps. But dude, I mean, should we let like the cat out of the bag? The house that the
Sure,
sausage is
sure.
made. We have been struggling so
Big time.
bad, or I have been struggling immensely trying to figure out this new video streaming software now that Skype is officially 6 feet under, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So Chris and I have been running tests this week and messing around with stuff, and we're like, well, or I'm like, well, worst comes to worst. We can't figure this out. We can go back to Skype one last time. No,
Mm-hmm.
didn't work. Did not work at all. So we were fiddling and freaking out, and it turned out it was Chris's fault the entire
It
time.
was.
So
It was all my fault.
there you go.
Yeah. Because you figure, like, Microsoft's just a tiny mom and pop company,
Yeah.
right? Just they have a little stand down the street,
Yeah.
right? So
Right.
why should anything they make be intuitive?
Yeah.
Like when Microsoft gives you an option to have more than one account on an app so you can flip back and forth,
Mm-hmm.
like say you have a job that requires you to have a certain account signed in somewhere, and then you have a hobby that has another sign in.
Right.
It might be easier for the user to be able to flip back and forth between them without having to go through like signing up and authenticating and all that nonsense.
Dude.
You'd think.
I had
You'd
to
think.
download an app. I'm like getting
Oh yeah,
confirmation
the
numbers.
authenticator.
Yeah,
Yep.
scanning QR codes.
Your face. Yep.
Oh man! But you know what?
Oh, it's insane.
All that matters is here and now, and we're together,
hmm You got
and
that
we're
right.
bada
What is
binning.
the Clio?
You know.
You got
Yeah.
that right.
So I suppose enough of that. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of our program. You, my friend,
I haven't thought of
what?
a single thing to talk about. It's all been about getting on
No,
the
no.
air.
You're lying to yourself. You're lying to me,
I
and
am.
you're lying to the
It's
Badabinians. You do, in fact, have something to discuss
I
because
do.
you physically left your house to go
I did.
somewhere of note. Could you lead off the
hmm
show telling us all about your field trip?
I went to Old Man. I went to No
Oh,
Man's Land. No, I went to Old Man Con.
right.
There I
Yeah.
am. I was pretty psyched to go. I'm not really good in public, but I mean, the last time I went was a year
Mm-hmm.
ago. I missed the one in November because I was effed in the head in November.
Okay.
So I went to the one in April last year and had a great time. It really took me back to the old, I always romanticize the mall cons of the 90s where comic vendors would just take over the hallways of
Mm-hmm.
malls and put their wares out there. No cover charges. Go in, you get some great deals. You get some stuff you don't see at your normal weekly comic stop or monthly comic stop or whatever
Right.
you do. So the last time I went, very much like that. And we've talked about like the uncanny valley of collecting before, where it's like you decide you're going to collect something and it never fails. Like the first store you go to or the first place you go to has just an embarrassment of what you're looking for to the point where you're so overwhelmed, you don't even know what to take, what to leave behind. And it's like paralyzing
Mm-hmm.
because it's like, I know when I did like the triangle
Yeah.
numbers, I tried to backfill that. And you go to any bin and there's a ton of them. And it's like, well, which ones of these don't belong in the quarter bin? Which ones of these will I never see again? Which one am I going to have to track down? Which one am I going to be tripping over every time I go? And you don't know. So it's like you're paralyzed. And when it's me, I wind up doing nothing. It's like, I just like, oh, I can't take anything, you know?
Okay.
So, So last year when I went, I had this goal to backfill Detective Comics. And I go, and there's a
Mm-hmm.
ton. And I'm still getting my bearings in the pre-crisis. So it's like you look at a stack of pre-crisis Detective, and they could be in any order. It's like they just don't seem as important to me. But I want them. So I go last year, and they're like all like $4 or $5 each, and it's like, okay, it's a 45, 50-year-old book, cool. But there were so many of them that I got overwhelmed, and I'm like, I need to do research on which ones of these I should like absolutely jump on, which ones of these I can safely leave behind, because I'll find them anywhere. So that was this trip to Old Man Con. I had a goal, I had a shopping list, and unfortunately, it was like a whole different breed of back issues was there. It was I call like those $4 or $5 back issues. They're like the middle class of back
Okay.
issues, where it's like, okay, you're spending about as much as a current year comic, maybe a dollar more, a dollar less. You're not getting ripped off. You're not taking advantage of anybody. You're buying something that is about where it
Mm-hmm.
fits. There wasn't any middle class this time. The middle class was dead. Like it was. I mean, we've all seen the cheapo bins, the 50 centers, the dollar bins. This was like the distillery of the dollar bins, where, like, say you go to 5 shops and you go to all their dollar bins, there are going to be those core books that are in all of
Mm-hmm.
them, right? You're going to have your 93 image stuff. You're going to have your Marvel UK stuff. You're going to have like the Woody Woodpecker with the cover torn off. You're going to have all that kind of stuff,
Okay.
right? All the dollar bins at this place that I went through were that. It was the distillery of dollar bins. So I didn't have anything to buy there. Um, and then in the actual bins, dude, I didn't take any pictures there. There was one picture I wanted to take because I told you about this offline, but there's that issue of Batman with the Todd McFarlane cover right before Death in the Family. It's like the long
Mm-hmm.
cape. It's very McFarlane before McFarlane was
Sure.
McFarlane. And I'm going through a magazine box full of Fooms and Amazing World of DC comics that were all like $100 each, or $40 each, at the low. And a guy stands up next to me and he's like, "Hey, can I see that Batman 423?" And the guy like goes like, "Yeah, yeah." And he turns and as he's bringing it to him, he goes, "Oh, wait a minute." And I'm like, "Uh-oh." And he's like, "I thought that said 75." It was
Holy
$750.
smokes. Yeah.
750. Now, I was double shocked because first of all, 750 is
Right.
ridiculous. And I mean, I hate slabs, but it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
slabbed. Um, but also the fact that this guy was willing to pay $75 for it, that kind of shocked me because I mean, it's not a rare book. It's a cool looking
Yeah.
book, but it's not a rare
Look, I'm
one.
not prepared now because, we
Hmm.
finally just figured out how to get our lovely
Yeah.
mugs on the internet. But
Hmm.
maybe
Hmm.
that could
Hmm.
be a source of inspiration in the future for another The Price Guide is Right. And we can see
Oh, yeah,
what is.
I could actually pull that up in a little bit.
Well,
Yeah, we can do
yes,
that.
yes. Maybe a little bit
But
later. Give me a moment to.
sure, sure.
I
To re
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, to get our feet
Indeed.
wet.
Thank you very much.
But I I picked up three
Okay.
books. I, I I don't have them with me, of course. It's been a weird couple
Okay.
weeks,
Yeah.
hasn't it? Last week, my wife got very, very ill, and my wife doesn't get sick; she gets sick. So it was not great. That's why we recorded. We tried to record so
Yeah.
late, and then this week's just been weird too. But I picked up three pre-crisis Batman issues. I got the dreadful birthday Dear Joker one. The one where like Batman's like tied to a candle on a cake. Um, I got the issue of Detective where it was like going into Batman's like archives. It's like him standing in a doorway, and like there's a hallway full of like portraits of all the villains. It's basically a who's who entry, given comic book feel. And then I got the one where they introduced Jason Todd as a new Robin with the, yes, you read that right, the boy wonder, sign in the background. I think I paid like 15, $20 each, which is way more than I wanted to spend, but I also spent $25 to get in and had to justify spending
That's
that.
hefty. Yeah.
Um, it was. And I mean, I walked around this place like I was doing laps because I didn't want to. It's like I just dropped $25 on
Mm-hmm.
this. And I mean, it's worlds better than, an actual Comic Con because I mean, there were actually comic
Right.
books there.
Just
So I got to
very
respect that.
overpriced.
It was just very
Yeah.
expensive. Yeah, I mean, I went to one that was mostly Golden Age comics, and they had a whole slew of action. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm gonna go dig through some action because I do need like 3 issues from the
Mm-hmm.
400s to have everything from the 400s on, and like everything from about 380 to 430 was $100 each, and I'm like, uh-uh.
Yeah.
And like they weren't in great condition. They weren't slabbed. Like I pulled one out. It was like one of those 100-page giants that I think I bought for like $4 a couple months
Mm-hmm.
ago. It was $100.
Well,
It's like I don't know who's don't know. I mean, hey, do you,
yeah.
I guess. But it was it was
If
disappointing.
it's your book,
It was
you
disappointing.
own it, you don't want to part with it, then yeah, overprice it, I guess. But I
Sure.
mean, you would
Yeah.
think you paid $25 to come in. Vendors must have to
Yeah.
pay a few
You'd
$100,
assume.
right?
Yeah.
So you assume they're there to sell books? I don't know.
I
Yeah,
would hope.
but
I would assume. Yeah. It was like they when I went a year ago, I don't know that they had any special
mhm.
guests. This year they had Jim Starlin there. Jim Kruger was there, the guy, the not Alex Ross guy from Earth
Yes.
X. Nice guy. I said a few
Uh
words
huh.
to him. I didn't see Starlin. I think he was already gone by the time I got
Did
there.
Kruger need a napkin or wet nap? Okay.
No, 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 no.
All
He
right.
was good. He was yeah,
Very good.
yeah. But I also didn't ask for an interview, so you never know.
Yes.
You never know how it might have
Right.
gotten there. I didn't ask for the pre-approved interview. Um, but perfectly pleasant. You could tell that Starlin was there though because a lot of Starlin stuff on people's walls. It's like it's funny because all the Infinity stuff from the '90s, except for like Infinity Gauntlet, like 2 issues of Infinity Gauntlet, are like dollar bin books, or they were dollar bin books. Um, all except for like Infinity Gauntlet #1, and then whatever issue has like Thanos and like in the middle of space by
Mm-hmm.
himself. That one's always been kind of big too. But like every every stand was selling that. They were selling all that stuff to, I guess, so you can get it signed or whatever. But I wasn't. I already have those books anyway. I wasn't really interested. I thought it would have been cool. I had that Jason Todd as Robin thing. Like, it would have been cool to have like Jim Starlin like sign it with like tick tock or
Yeah.
something. Like he's not here for long.
Huh.
But he wasn't there. I didn't see him.
Okay.
But yeah, it was I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what it'll be like next time because I only bought from stores that I go to
Mm-hmm.
anyway. I go to I shop at all the stores here, and a lot of the stands there were like independent sellers. But I only wound up buying from the stores that I already shop from.
I had forgotten that you were going, and you were texting me,
Hmm.
and I was busy at work. So
Yeah.
I checked my phone later, and I saw the series of missed messages, and I think I was like, just take pictures. Come on, we can put that stuff on the Bada Show. And you just like, nope, I'm already out of there. Okay,
I was
all right,
gone.
you know. Um,
Yeah.
in contrast, it's not an old man con, but I will be hitting a couple shops this Saturday.
Oh yeah, it's Pretend to
It
Care About Comics
is,
Day.
yes, it's free comic
Yeah.
book day. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a couple sales I want to go check out. and I will provide photo documentation of my existence, unlike my co-host
I
down
like
here.
it.
Yeah. So I'm dragging my 12-year-old son along so he can be my documentarian photographer,
Mm.
because listen, I understand if you're at a con somewhere public digging selfies, man. No. I mean, dude,
Mm.
no, you don't want to do that. I get it. I understand it. You're probably more apt just to take photos of the like venue.
Of the
Yeah,
finds.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. So to have my offspring be able to photograph me in my natural habitat will make it a much easier experience for myself and the viewers of the Bada Bin show. You know.
Yeah. No, if my wife came with me, I'd had her take pictures, but because last time we went in April of last
Mm-hmm.
year, we went and we bought two tickets, and because she's like, oh, maybe they'll have like some pops in there, because I mean that she digs that kind of stuff,
Right.
and like she like walked in and she's like, well, that was $20, and she walked out. She's like, I'm gonna go sit in the lobby on my phone and come out when you're done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this year, she didn't, we weren't going to spend another $25. And because she came with me when I went to the Phoenix Con in 2016, I had
Mm-hmm.
the media pass to get in, and she was taking pictures there. She didn't take one picture that would have been funny for the show,
Yeah. Well, maybe
but yeah,
another con in the future or something
you
like
never know.
instead
You
of
never know.
old man con, middle aged, midlife crisis
Middle
con.
Age and Crazy Con, yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Arrested Development Con.
Yes. With your permission, though, I want to switch gears a little bit because,
Okie dokie.
lately I've been giving my comic reviews here on the Bada Bin show because I've been getting my shipments every 2 weeks.
Yeah,
And you've been playing catch up.
big time.
And with that, there was one book in particular you sent me a message about immediately after you
It's the
read it.
only book from the pile that I've read yet.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
my initial thoughts on March's books,
Uh huh.
no good.
Yeah. Well, you're in the buffering stage.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. But the book that we're referring to is
Mm,
Hush 2, the debut of Hush
dude.
2.
Dude, I so wanted to be the light in the darkness.
Yeah.
I wanted to be the voice of the voiceless Hush.
Well,
Um,
just to recap, this is a book
yeah,
where
hit
I
it.
said I'm dropping it
You're done.
immediately.
It was a breaking point. Yeah.
I don't want anything to do with this title anymore. I'll be back, unfortunately, when they relaunch it, but I'll be back for
Yeah.
the Matt Fraction stuff. Whatever I signed up for, pre orders, let them send it to me. I'm
They're
not
coming.
opening
Yeah.
them. They're going straight in a box. Could not stand this book.
Straight in the shredder.
Well, no. I'm not hurting any comics here. No comics were harmed in the making of the Bada Bin show. It's not for me, baby. But your opinions don't differ much from my own.
They
So
don't. Oh
let's have them.
man. It's weird. It's like it doesn't feel like something I read so much as something that happened to me.
Okay. Traumatic
You know,
experience.
because we talk a lot about continuity. We talk a
Yeah.
lot about characterization, just things happening and things piling up and things evolving.
Right.
This felt like, and I think Chris, you put it perfectly. It
Mm-hmm.
felt old.
Yeah.
And it's so weird to say when you're talking about an artist like Jim Lee, who is like one of the modern, quote unquote modern masters. And it just looks so ancient. It looks like it's like the thought out caveman. It just doesn't feel as dynamic as it should. It doesn't feel up with the times.
Mm-hmm.
you know. And the storytelling neglects the fact that when was Hush? 2002? I know we ask this like every damn week.
Uh, I was gonna say 20 years ago,
Yeah, we'll
give or
say
take.
20, we'll say 2002-ish. But Hu- it felt like 23 years of comics didn't happen. And I mean a lot of that I haven't really dug. I didn't like Rebirth stuff. I didn't like some of the stuff. I'm not a huge fan of Winnick.
Yeah,
I'll admit he did some good
2002,
stuff.
real quick,
Okay,
just to jump in.
so 23 years of Batman continuity like didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
We've got the Joker putting goddamn fish into the sea again. I mean, what year is this? I don't know what. And I hate, it feels like the go-to from anybody who's reviewing this thing from a negative point of view is that it was a cash grab. And it feels so lazy to echo that,
Mm-hmm.
but it's true.
Mm.
I I don't know what I don't know what it's helping. I don't know who's asking for. Besides people who like how many variant. I mean, there are pages of variant covers in this book. There are that many of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Who is this helping?
yeah. You know,
I,
fans being fickle. If you're there for content, if you're there for quality, just to kind of make the analogy here, like
hmm,
movies.
hmm,
Lately, there's been a lot of sequels that come out 20 years after the fact, or a prequel, or
hmm,
whatever. And the filmmakers know if we're treading on this sacred ground, it has to be good. There has to be fan
y-
service in there,
yeah,
nods to the original source material.
hmm,
Immediately, my mind goes to Ghostbusters, that
hmm,
franchise, and like Ghostbusters Afterlife, which was just a beautiful way to handle reinvigorating a franchise after
hmm.
decades. This, however, as you said, is easy and it feels lazy to call it a cash grab because there's none of that there. You
It
know,
has no heart. Has no
yeah,
heart.
it's a soulless,
And
just bland meh. It feels
but
like they
you,
stole my money. You
the
know.
weird thing is if you reread the original Hush out of context,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of just as lazy.
Yeah.
Um, I think
Well.
because Hush came at like the perfect time because we were post No Man's Land and we went into that like weird Art Deco era of Batman where everything felt very low key, like on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And we were doing, I mean, they did like the Bruce Wayne fugitive and murderer story that went on for ages, and then all of a sudden it's like all the books got tired at once and then Hush hit and it was like a bomb. It was like, oh wow, we have Jim Lee art. Who'd have thought? This is fantastic. It was every character you could ever want to see Jim Lee draw was being drawn.
Oh.
And every issue had this sense of urgency to it because it's like, okay, well, this is the Joker's turn. Okay, now it's Two-Face's turn. Now it's Killer Croc's turn. All these characters was hitting really, really hard. It had no soul in retrospect.
Mm-hmm.
But at the time, and I mean, I know Jeff Loeb's his writing is sometimes compared to the summer blockbuster. I know you did not care for the Hulk of a million colors, but it was a very blockbustery feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, it was very light, it was fluffy, and it was just like, and it didn't hurt that Ed McGuinness was drawing it. And it was like, oh wow, Ed McGuinness drawing these huge characters, like just huge slabs of meat. It's fantastic. But the story itself, not so much. Not so much content there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now it's almost like we see the person behind the not the person, but just the entire concept behind the curtain, where there's breath, but there's no pulse.
Okay. Yeah, that makes
You
sense.
know,
Yeah.
because like every issue of Hush back in the day, I couldn't wait for the next one. This one now, and it doesn't even have the luxury of being so bad it's good. It just feels lazy. I mean, you talked about the Talia bit in there. Without spoiling it, you told me about it. And then I saw it and was like, oh God. Seeing the Joker back to, I mean, I'm not the biggest booster of the new 52, but I gotta admit, they did a lot of stuff with the Joker during that era. They've done a lot of stuff with the Joker. God, I mean, Morrison did the Clown at Midnight.
Yeah.
We had the whole Snyder thing. We had what's his face? Jeff Johns. The three Joker thing. We had what Zosky's done with them. We had a whole Joker war a few years ago with Tinian, and now it's like he's back to being whatever the hell he was at the turn of the century.
Yeah.
Very weird.
I heard an interesting quote on a show I was watching today based on Industrial Light and Magic, the
Okay.
effects company. And
Hmm.
it had to do, sorry for more movie talk, but
No, no, no. You're good.
how George Lucas, the reviews when he revisited the Star Wars franchise with episode
Hmm.
one decades after the original. And
Yeah.
he's talking about nostalgia. And he's like, you got to remember when people got into something, they were kids. They were 12 years old and they hold it
Hmm.
special and dear to them. Now they're watching something while it's still part of the franchise new with an adult critical eye,
Hmm.
And he had suggested that 20 years from that moment in time, kids would wax nostalgic about these movies the adults are crapping on now.
Hmm.
So I wonder, you know, well, I shouldn't because kids aren't buying this. But still, let's say you're getting into comics or what have you. This is your first foray into Batman. You think it's neat because you're not an experienced reader. I don't
I
know,
mean, that
but
would be the.
you
I
know,
think that should be the target reader of Hush 2.
yeah,
Someone who has no context, doesn't know what's good.
yeah, or
Because it's
someone whose mother still gets them ready for school every morning. You know what I mean? Because
perhaps.
yeah, dude, it's so bad, so bad. And I knew you weren't gonna like it. I mean, obviously, but to get your seething review of it via the text machine I keep in my pocket, I was
Yeah.
like, ooh, ooh, this guy, he burned that sucker. Because I mean, there's a couple points you mentioned in our private conversation you haven't brought up on
Mm.
the air yet, and one of them was Batgirl,
Oh,
Barbara
I mean,
Gordon.
we go to the clock tower,
Mm,
right? Where Oracle works. And there she is, like changing like IP addresses in her full Batgirl costume.
yeah.
In like full like leather and vinyl. She's
Mm-hmm.
like tapping on a computer. Why?
I don't know. I'm gonna start doing bada bin in my work clothes. I guess I don't.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Get those eyes wide shut masks or something. We'll do episodes.
Yeah, man. It's just it was that you had mentioned the Talia copter was something I took
Hmm.
issue with.
Yeah.
The fact that we get the Joker laughing fish again and Batman. To be perfectly honest, you would think this would be refreshing in an era of everything can be explained away by I'm Batman.
Yeah.
But he gets undone pretty easy,
He should have died.
you know?
Yeah.
It was just, I don't know. And then it's basically the rest of the issue is Joker torture porn.
Pretty much.
If you're into that
Yeah.
sort of thing, you just want to
We all
see.
got our stuff.
Yeah. I'm not trying to, kink shame or anything, but if that's what floats your boat, that issue's for you.
This book's for you.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. All right. Do you want to, if you're willing,
Hmm.
move on to some of the books I've read over the last week or so? And I'm
Absolutely.
sorry, I feel a sudden need to cough. So bear with me here. I got a scratch, an
Hmm.
itch in the back of my throat.
Oh, we are muted here, and we're back.
Yes, I was muted. That's not to say
I
I'm
always
done, but
I always think that the cough button won't work. So I always get nervous when I push it and I see the light blinking, and I'm like,
Uh huh.
did it do anything?
Yeah, did you hear me cough?
I did
Then
not.
mine worked perfectly.
So
That's
yours
all
is
that
good.
matters. Yes. Now, mind you, these
Mhm.
reviews were planned for last week, and I never write anything down. So hopefully my memory serves and stands
The
up here.
memory remains.
Well, you're talking about old man con, talking about midlife crisis. We're talking about the
Hmm.
nostalgia factor of Hush 2. Obviously, brain cells for me are not a priority. But first things first, I want to talk about a book that I really, really enjoyed.
Hmm.
Now, Fire and Ice, I believe I've discussed on this show before. They had a mini Welcome to Smallville. This one
Yeah.
is the sequel when hell freezes over. The creative team, the writer's still the same. I fear bringing up the writer's name only because of the
Hmm.
discussion we had over the Harley Quinn Fartacular, but is Joanne Starer.
Uh,
The artist is different this time now. This is actually Stephen Byrne, who some people might
okay.
know from the Wonder Twins maxi series that was actually really,
Oh,
really
the
good.
Bendis deal?
No, this one
Oh, it was
was
from Bendis's imprint.
Wonder
The
Comics.
Wonder? Yeah.
Yep, that
Yeah.
was the Wonder Comics imprint, but that was Mark Russell.
Mhm.
And there were a few issues in that series I found just to be outstanding. Hold on, cough button again.
Often.
Coughing on my copy of Fire and Ice. That's how much I like it.
There you go.
Again, no kink shaming. But I think the artist is an upgrade here compared to
Mhm.
the artist on the other mini who was, what's her name? She was on Devil Girl and Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. Natasha
Mhm.
Buccios or something. Very
Okay.
cartoony style. Stephen Byrne,
Yeah.
I'm finding much more likable to my eyes. But dude, I'm a JLI fan. I like the old Justice League of America. You know, the Bwahaha era. I know that
Hmm.
gets
Hmm.
brought out all the time.
Just one punch, man.
Yeah, I know. But dude, this is seriously like the spiritual successor to that series.
Hmm.
And it even has Elron in it. And there's a lot of nods to the past in this, in that run. And there's humor and there's heart. And it's just something I feel like I need more of in my life. I really wish this wasn't broken up into minis and this was just
Hmm.
given an ongoing series, even though that doesn't exist anymore. But
No,
if it did, dude, I'm all about it. You didn't sub to the first series, so I assume you didn't sub to this series,
I did not.
correct? Now, this one actually has to deal with the after effects of AbPow, Absolute Power.
Oh, because they swap powers, right?
Correct. The powers
Hmm.
here get swapped, and they're both struggling, whether it's fire or ice, not only with the power switch, but also like their roles and where they are in life and what they've achieved and what have you, their status amongst other heroes. Albeit that they've settled in nice now to Smallville, and there's also a new Kui in Kansas. So that's actually I find it to be pretty cool. Yet again,
Hmm.
another kind of nod to the past where Ted Cord is currently building a casino there. So, any fans of the that era of Justice League will do the Leo DiCaprio "I get that reference" meme and probably enjoy that quite a bit. But what happens here, and this is, I guess, I suppose the gimmick is Fire decides to make a wish
Hmm.
on a I forget the name of the hand. There is like a magical artifact in the DCU. I know because it's been in. It was used in like Len Wein's Swamp Thing run.
Hmm.
So forgive me for not remembering the name of that severed monkey paw, or whatever the heck. But she wants her powers back, to the point where she makes this wish. Satana is there, is like, don't use that relic, don't do it. Whoops. And rather than switch powers, they switch bodies. So welcome to
Hmm.
Freaky Friday, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, man, I wouldn't say I was laughing out loud when I was reading
Hmm.
this book, but I definitely had a few chuckles out of it. Enjoyed myself, and am totally looking forward to issue number 2 and to see what this series holds. And I really hope it sells well because I want to see more minis. Pretty
Hmm.
gosh darn bad. Have I sold you on it? Are you down for reading this book?
No.
Oh, you hurt my feelings.
No, I got the first issue of the first mini at a dollar sale, and I did not care for it.
Really?
Yeah,
Was it the art, the writing, the whole package?
the whole package. Just
Really?
wasn't a fan of it. Yeah,
You know, man, you're just dead
I
inside.
wanted to. I wanted to.
Really? You know what?
Yeah.
We're going to have to turn this over to Chris Yu. And Chris Yu is going to have to check this out and give us a impartial, or not, rather, wait, what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah,
Third
impartial.
party.
Yeah, review. Let us know. Is he on the Chris side or the Dave side? Is he all about fire and ice or something else? What's going on here? So we'll see. But that be that. I do recommend it unless you are Chris, co-host of the Bada Show, in which case just forget about it because you're a joyless human being
Sometimes.
with yeah, cantankerous eyes. Now I want to move on.
Hmm.
It is no surprise. It's been talked about quite a bit on our airwaves that I am planning on cutting action. But
Hmm.
in the interim, before that happens, before big old Mark Wade takes over, I still have a couple issues left to go. So let's look into those and see if we're going to part amicably. Amicably? I can't speak tonight,
Close
bro.
enough. Close
I
enough.
can't speak. But
I
let's
think you got it that time.
really let's see if we're going to part, you know, good.
Part as friends.
Part as friends, part as buddies, part as something.
Hmm.
Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
This fortress of solitude.
Yes, the cancellation countdown is in full effect, and no, Action Comics isn't getting canceled. It's just about to leave my life. So, as I mentioned before, I played that sweet graphic. Here we are, Action Comics 1085, G. Willow Wilson and Gavin Guidry on creative duties. Arctic Assault, plan for some giant snowballs to be thrown. No. Dude, they're making it so easy. They really are. You know what I mean? It's just like, listen,
Yeah.
this issue was okay.
Yep.
It was, I didn't hate it, but there was really nothing to love about it. And as a matter of fact, I've noticed once this issue did hit the racks, what seemed to be the topic of conversation by all the clickbaity sites was his clothes. They wanted to make a big deal that in this issue,
Hmm.
Superman gets himself some new sweet white and blue digs. Problem
Okay.
is, everybody's got a short attention span and forgets it wasn't even a year ago that Superman was, in fact, rocking a white uniform while he was lost in space. So, not so new. Not so fresh. Sorry, Internet, you failed. This issue has a lot of kinks in it. Not
Hmm.
kink shaming, but just
Hmm.
kinks.
Hmm.
One of which is something that should have been done away with in the Silver Age, never been brought back again. Where, okay, so Superman's in the Arctic. Well, first off, Clark is in the Arctic. Superman is
Hmm.
needed, and Clark just happens to disappear when the throwdown is happening, and then when it's over, they go, geez, where's Clark? He just comes around the corner and says, oh, I was hiding in a closet because I was scared. Who believes that? Who believes
Yeah.
that nowadays? I mean, that's...
But did you get that reference?
Well,
Because references do make up for context, content, and comedy now.
Well, not to me.
No, me
Okay,
either.
not to me. And this was, yeah, it was also one of those issues that you love that mentioned right in the beginning that it happens before this and happens before that. So, just so you know, this happened before Absolute Power and happened before the Metropolis election.
So it happened before the thing that ended almost a year ago?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. Which, I really don't take as much of an issue with because whatever. I mean, we live in an age where writers have ultimate power. We've said so many times continuity's dead. I
Yeah.
mean, think of it like this, too. Captain America by
Mm-hmm.
Zdarsky, that's going to be a retro story. That's not going to be...
I didn't even know he was taking it over.
Yeah, dude,
Oh,
we
did we
talked
talk
about
about
it.
it?
Yeah, we did.
Did we? Nah.
And it's not going to be, modern era Cap.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, you want to write Superman from a different age or era? That's fine. Albeit not that long ago. So, unfortunately, this issue really was a letdown for me. Not to say I was expecting a whole lot out of it. It's not like I had high hopes, but
Sure.
I
But it's a
was...
superstar book, so.
Well, yeah. And as you had mentioned last episode, you have a remedy for that, but nobody be listening,
Mm-mm.
which is unfortunate. So, coughing fit about to happen again. Sorry, everybody.
There you go.
I'm coming off of an illness. I don't know if you can tell I'm a little bit congested here, so I'm not at full review strength. But I press
Mm-hmm.
on, because that's what I do. I'm a trooper.
Gotcha.
Now, you
What's
will
in
be
the cup?
getting this in your sub, right? Action Comics
What's it?
1085.
I I might have already I might already have it.
Okay.
I know I do have an issue of it. I mean, I'm sticking with it
Okay. I know.
because I'm an idiot.
I know. Well, next year, when you finally crack open those Mark Waid Superboy issues, you can let me how it all played out.
Yeah, it'd be great.
And then I can play my Action Comics cancellation song again.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now moving on. Here's a book I've said is the best of the line. It's been great. Absolute Batman. We got issue number 7 here. People are stoked about it. It's introducing the absolute Mr. Freeze. And you know what? I understand, one of the big selling points of the Absolute Universe is reconfiguring, reimagining villains,
Mm-hmm.
maybe spicing them up a little bit. And
How many
getting...
times does he yell about Nora?
He doesn't.
What?
He doesn't.
They are doing something different.
Well, they are, but let me get into that. First off,
Okay.
I think this is my least favorite issue of the series thus far.
Because this is a new arc.
It
now.
is. There's a
Okay,
different artist
okay.
on it though, Marcos
Really?
Martin or Martine,
All right.
and I didn't really care for his style. It's very simplistic, very bare boned. I don't think it was necessarily a good fit for Absolute Batman.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is, and I'm not going to spoil this for anybody, but the reveal
Sure.
of the Absolute Mr. Freeze, I found kind of cheeseball.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was easy to do it that way, and it is different from the Mr. Freeze screaming Nora, that we've all potentially grown fond of here. But at the same time, it's like the last page reveal type thing, and you look at it and
Okay.
you go, okay, I don't know. I don't think, okay, like, Absolute Martian Manhunter, when I reviewed that, I don't know if it was last episode or the episode before, I said it felt different. It felt dangerous. No matter how it turns
Sure.
out or what it truly is,
Yeah.
it feels like there's
It
some
gets points for
substance
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
This I thought was done more for like that little tinge of shock factor. You know?
Okay.
Just wait till they get a load of Mr. Freeze now. He's not the Mr. Freeze you think you knew. Okay. And who knows? Time will tell. Maybe in issue 8 more is revealed about him, and it makes more sense to me. But this one just it wasn't a thriller
Okay.
for me. So
Now is Dragata, is he gone or is he just on a break?
I think he's on his hiatus. I don't know.
Okay, good.
You know what?
Okay, so he'll be back.
Yeah, I didn't look to see if it was a one issue absence or
Or the arc.
yeah, anything further than that. I just buy him, man. You know, some
True
things just automatically I don't really even check solicits about it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it is what it is. So yeah. Alright. Sorry, I'm queuing up some images here, so that's why I'm kind of mentally moseying in front of your eyes. Okay, next book to follow up. Keeping it in the Absolute universe.
Okay.
Absolute Flash #2. Which I thought I had here in my pile. I do. Absolute
There it is.
Yes. Absolute Flash #2. I mentioned when we reviewed the first issue. I understand what Jeff Lemire was going for.
Sure.
Nick Robles is the artist. I just didn't really care for it in the debut, and I was thinking,
I still have to read it.
what, #1?
I just got it.
Oh, okay. You know what? I'm dying to hear your opinion on it. I really am.
Yeah, I got the Flash, Green Lantern, and Martian Manhunter #1s.
Yeah, get into those, will you? What are you doing tomorrow?
I
What
don't know.
There you go. Read them, so at least you can give me your thoughts on them. I mean, it's going to be better than Hush 2. That much I guarantee.
I mean that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I was
That's
just...
the new
what's
new
that?
Milgram line.
Yeah, well, let's talk about the Milgram line in the Absolute universe. I just mentioned when I was talking about Absolute Batman #7 here, like, okay, the introduction of the villains thing, the introduction of the Rogues Gallery, when we're talking about establishing a new character that's an ultimate or absolute version of a beloved character, you really shouldn't spend too much time trying to give us with shock and awe on the reimagining of the villains. But that's what this is, and that's what that's aiming to do, is to totally appease clickbaity sites. You're not going to believe what they did with Gorilla Grodd. Holy, this isn't your daddy's Gorilla Grodd, you know? Which is unfortunate, because I like Lemire. I do.
Sure.
But
Me too.
I almost feel like it gets too cute with that stuff. And the first issue, I was trying to dance and I was walking on eggshells because I didn't want to spoil it for you in particular.
Yeah.
But I will say this, it's so tied to speed, where it's very frenetic and panicky, and it could almost give you like a small bout of anxiety because the way that it's set up, Wally's freaking out the whole first issue, realizing he has powers. Like word balloons overlap and timelines are getting jumped.
Just a cluster.
But while that could be conceived as maybe slightly difficult to read, especially for someone who's uninitiated to just the Flash in general, I understood it, because if you're, empowered with super speed, your mind is racing. Everything's faster for you. Everything's amplified. So I get that. The only thing with Absolute Flash 2 is, and I'm sorry to say, It's turned me off to the point of no return. So much so, we have a new Bada Bin Diddy.
So I read a comic, and this is what I think about it. Listen up. Here we go!
It's the next book to drop still, and I'll meet you at the station. It's either inconsistent or so boring that it's painful. Oh no no. Oh no no no. Oh no no no. Dear God, why is this book so slow?
Yes, indeedy, lemon squeezy. I am done. Goose is cooked. I'm leaving Absolute Flash at the station. So
Yeah, you teased that you were dropping a book. You didn't tell me which one.
yeah,
So yeah.
Absolute Flash it is. I'm sorry. But you know what? The other thing is, aside from the story being, what it is, I'm not really thrilled by the art either. So
Okay.
it's not giving me enough to stick around and wait to see, even with the rogues, like what they do intend on doing with them,
Sure.
or how they plan on incorporating these new look rogues. I'm out. I'm done. So, don't.
Where do you think? Where do you think it started with the reintroduction of characters with with an eye toward getting the Beatty sites to be like, oh, you won't believe this.
Well,
Like not even like an alternative like maybe it's an ultimate character, maybe it's just a reintroduction of like a Silver Age character or what.
I don't know where the impetus for that begins. Initially, just thinking off the top of my head, I mean, any site would say, okay, let's say they're doing the Ultimate Universe, just for example.
Sure.
The 10 best variations of Superman, or I'm sorry, Spider-Man throughout his history. And then you get a top 5 list. You get a top 10 list. You get like all this crap we try to get you to click on. And maybe that was it, because people love lists.
I'm thinking like more like what was the first reintroduction of a character that inspired such a thing online, like the fervor and the because like you said, I don't know what happened to Absolute Mr. Freeze. I don't know what happened to Absolute the Rogues yet, but the way you're painting it makes it seem like they're doing it for some sort of attention that has nothing to do with the story and more about a shocking. I mean, because the journalists we have don't really put too much effort into creating what they create.
I'm not trying to say it has nothing to do with the story, but I know when it was conceptualized, it was definitely like, oh, wait till social media gets a hold of this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because what we're doing is so radical and so different and looks unlike anything you've ever seen of this version of the character before. Of course, there's going to be heat thrown on it.
Yeah.
Long term, maybe it will benefit the story. Maybe it will all make sense. I don't know. It's just not working for me. Now,
Gotcha.
listen, Absolute Batman, I just said the Mr. Freeze thing was cheeseballs to me. The way it played out. I'm not canceling Absolute Batman.
Sure.
There's other elements there that I dig, that I enjoy. It's just the Flash doesn't have enough oomph, moxie.
When you
keep
when
me
you
around.
brought that up, my mind went instantly to the reintroduction of Black Hand. If you remember that from
Well, speaking of
before
Justice League,
Blackest Night.
Black Hand was like a laughing stock.
He was a joke.
He's a joke.
Yeah, I mean he was trying to break up Guy and Ice's movie date.
Right. And then he's the biggest baddie of all big baddies. It was like, wow, okay.
But
yeah.
the way they brought him back as this like weird necrophiliac was
Oh.
seemed like the thing that was trying to get the attention.
Yeah. Well, no necrophilia in Absolute Flash yet. Maybe.
But
in
you'll
the
never
future.
know.
I will.
You'll never know.
Well, I mean, I still got a couple more issues coming
Okay.
since I do pre-orders, but
Are you going to actually read them? Or are you going to just
no, I'll
buy
read them.
anyway?
I'll read them,
Okay.
but
It ain't like Hush 2.
Oh, that's yeah. No, we're actually it's funny because you've asked me about like canceling books in the past. Now I'm at this weird stage in my life where I'm actually different stages of cancellation because we do pre-orders. They're coming, not gonna read it. They're coming, canceling it, but I'll read it. You know, like
Sure.
yeah, different
It's a
stages of
spectrum.
grief.
Yeah, it's a spectrum.
Yeah. So I don't know. What are you gonna do? But yeah, dude. The other thing is, it's with a discount. It's like a $3.24 book. If I'm not really jiving with it, and I know it's only 2 issues,
Sure.
you might be like, dude, you got to give it room to breathe. I get it, but what I've seen for these first 2 issues, it can go breathe its own oxygen somewhere else.
A lot's expected of a reader nowadays, isn't it?
Well, yeah. You know, and to be
Give
fair,
it 10 issues. That's only $50.
yeah, right. But I mean, it applies to all forms of media. You know, we
Sure.
have to be patient. We have to respect the process.
So few bits of media do we pay piecemeal for. I mean, if a TV show comes out, you just wait for it to show up on TV.
Well, see, I hate when I do this because I'm always arguing in my own brain because albeit, you know, you're right. TV show is different. But and many people can relate, we have been defeated by the corporations where when we initially discovered we could cut the cord, we were saving money.
Sure.
And now with all the different streamers, we're all paying more money
Oh yeah.
now than we did when we had cable. So,
Sure.
you know, sure. I subscribe to these different Hulu, Netflix, whatever, and each one has thousands of programs on it. But still, everybody's taking their piece. Every pound
Yeah.
of flesh for me.
But you ain't paying piecemeal for each episode.
Well, I'm probably paying 0.00
There you go.
2 cents or something. But yeah, but no, I understand what you're saying. For a serialized content story,
They have to make an effort to spend money to get.
yes. So I don't know, man. Absolute Flash. What are you doing to me? Anyway, those are the books that I read recently. I do have some back issues. Saving for the Bada Bin anniversary show, which is coming next week.
And we know it'll actually happen because we got everything going.
Yes, barring any catastrophic event.
Lightning. Yeah.
Looking for pianos, people. Or if I completely lose my ability to speak. Now, I don't know if you have any other things you want to talk about before we move on.
I only read the one book.
Yeah.
I only read the new comic. I did pull up Batman number 423 in our friendly comic book realm website if we want to do some Price Guide is Right.
Okay, well, let me queue up some things here. You should have texted me and let me know so I could do this stuff behind the scenes.
Oh, we could do that later.
Well, no.
If there's anything else you want to jump to?
No, I'm a man of the people. I am very happy. I aim to please. And with that, do I have the sound effects? Do I have what I need? No.
Because this one might just shock us both.
Really? All right. Let's try this. What do you say?
Do it.
Okay. Price Guide is right. What's the issue number again?
This is Batman number 423 with a cover date of September 1988.
Yes.
And a cover price of 75 cents.
Yes, I own a copy of that, a reader. Okay, you said we are preparing to be shocked, so what is the buffer?
$25.
25 smackaroos. I can tell you, I can guarantee with 100% certainty it's not a $700 comic like it was
It is not.
at Old Man Con.
It is not. There's a free hint.
Okay.
It is not.
I'm going to say $25 buffer. And you were like, the dude was willing to pay $75, and I thought that was a lot.
I thought that was insane. I thought if I were in your seat right now,
Yeah.
I would have said $25.
Uh-huh. $50.
Low.
Really? All right. Let's go with the random stranger at Old Man Con. I'm going to say 80.
Low.
Whoa. And I only have one more shot at this
That's it.
before I get thrown in the price guide is right dungeons and tortured for my insolence. Okay, let's just go out with a bang. $150.
Low.
Whoa. What is it?
Yeah. It is $250.
That is very steep.
Insane.
Well, wow. $250?
$250. 5 years ago, I got it for 50 cents.
Yeah.
$250.
The power of Todd McFarlane.
Yeah, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 versions of it.
Yeah, there was, if I remember correctly, like, okay. So you're going to have your first prints. You're going to have the ones that were put into, like, multi-pack comics. You're going to have the ones that were, like, included with an action figure or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's all over the map, and it's probably easy to get ripped off if you're not paying attention to what you're buying as far as
Sure.
those other versions and the prints, you know?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, well, let me play
Yeah,
this
holy
intro. I'm
smokes.
disgusted by this. Hold on. I need a second to collect my thoughts.
Because that comes at a time where there are some pretty valuable books in that era with the whole Death in the Family,
Mm-hmm.
and it dwarfs everything. I'm scrolling back here, backwards to see where something even near that, and let's see here. Okay, there is. Okay, issue 313 from 1979 is worth $225. That's the first appearance of Timothy Fox, the future state new Batman.
Yes. Yes.
Good grief, though. I'm looking for something that's $250. Still going. Okay. The next most expensive one is issue 251, which is $1,500, and that's the Joker's 5-Way Revenge.
Well, I better dig out my
So
copy and prepare to...
You got to go back to 1973 to find something more valuable than that Todd McFarlane issue.
Wow. Well,
what are you gonna do?
I was gonna say, what can I do? What can I say? Like, it's just amazing to me. You know, how many times have I said Swamp Thing number 56 should be worth $1 million?
Yep.
Nobody listens to me. Nobody cares.
Mm-hmm.
Yet you have this one issue with a specific cover and biggity bam, biggity boom. It's actually coincidental because when Chris Yu was talking about that copy of ASM from when he was a kid,
Yeah.
and you were having me guess, and I was way off for the price guide is right. You know, that's the first appearance of the black suit.
Yeah.
Yet, the issue that always probably gets more heat is Secret Wars number 8, right?
Number 8. Yeah.
And since that's already been ruled out as not technically the first appearance, I mean, it's just...
Yeah, that's like the origin of it. Yeah.
Yeah, but still, like, people just love that cover.
Sure.
They love it. And there's a lot of reasons to like it, don't get me wrong. but
Sure.
it's probably far more valuable than it should be.
Oh,
I
definitely.
don't know.
Yeah.
Changing gears real quick here.
And Todd didn't do the interior art for that book, by the way.
Okay.
It was Dave Cockrum.
Yeah. Well, that shows you yet again power of a cover. That's
Mm-hmm.
all it takes. You know, speaking of items and the value
Mm-hmm.
and what they're worth, I have recently made an acquisition in my life, excuse me, that I didn't pay a lot for,
Mm-hmm.
but I decided that someday the lights may flicker. Humanity might be doomed. But as long as I have a generator and a DVD player, I'll never go hungry. Because
Mm-hmm.
I just purchased myself the complete series, all 12 seasons of Murder, She Wrote. And
Mm-hmm.
I immediately sent you this very photo, and I wrote, "My life is complete." You know, I've hit a pinnacle
Mm-hmm.
of my existence that I don't know can be topped. Because really, you know, I'm
What
down
more
with
is there?
JB. What's that?
What more is
Well,
there?
technically, there were 4 made-for-TV movies that
They're
aren't.
not included?
They're not included in this set, so there is still a little more for me to reach.
What about the
For
spin-offs? Do you follow the spin-offs?
no
They don't count?
spin-offs for any series. No, I mean, dude,
Wasn't there like a Bill Maher one?
Bill Maher. He was in a few episodes or a couple
And
episodes.
didn't they try to spin him off in like a it got like a pilot or
Well,
something?
there was a backdoor pilot because
Mm-hmm.
it was based on one of her books
Okay.
about this detective who has to teach class now because he's a hothead cop and they're trying to cool him down, but he won't
Mm-hmm.
simmer until he solves the murder. But it's almost like, I don't know, you'd have to be super duper completist, and it must be hard to find because a lot of these spin-offs don't last.
Yeah, they probably don't get any releases.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. So, you know what? I'm content with this box set and
Mm-hmm.
eventually buying the 4 movie disc. Even though the movies, they're not that great. There's one in
Mm-hmm.
particular that's good, but other than that, meh. You know what I mean? But still, I'm very happy to have it.
Hmm.
And the weird thing is, if you have the Roku channel, they're free. You can watch
Yeah.
the episodes all day, every day. The problem
Until
is,
they pull it.
well,
Until they pull it.
here's the other thing. The other, you
Mm-hmm.
know, problem with it is that you can't pause it. It's got commercials
Yeah.
and it goes full season. So you can kind of, and I have timed it out like, all right, well, this is season 5, episode 11. By tomorrow, probably around like 11 or 12, we'll be into season 6. Da 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 da. So you can kind of
Sure.
mentally prepare yourself for episodes you like. Now, I don't have to do that anymore.
There you
My
go.
wife is a huge Friends fan, and there was it's almost a parody. I don't know if I've talked about this on the air before.
You did.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I mentioned how we had to stay up late at night to
You
watch it.
stayed up
No
and you fell
more.
asleep during it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no more. I got it. I own it. Booyah.
There you go.
You know what I mean? All right. Do you want to hit the email? Do you want to talk a little Chris U?
We could do that. We could do that. I did want to show off a book that I bought.
Oh, well, hello, Mr. Man.
It's a book with words, though.
Okay, show us.
I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago on the last time we were on the air, I guess, and I was still waiting for it to show up, and it did. And it is The Anatomy of Zurinar. And it goes through the Morrison Batman. I'm not very far into it. I've been reading it here and again. I've been very tired at night, so I haven't been able to keep my eyes straight. But so far, I'm digging it. So far, it's got some decent information in it, and it's inspiring to me that I feel like my Action Comics Daily could become a book. I feel like a lot of the silly crap that I do could become a book if I sat down to do it. You know.
Well, what if you just compiled it?
Oh, I mean, I could do that.
Yeah.
But I think I'd have to rewrite a lot of it because a lot of it is, I do use a lot of images, and I wouldn't be reprinting the entire Superman arc of Action Comics Weekly, you know. So I'd need to kind of figure out a way to make it work without the images.
Dude, bootleg punk rock. Come on.
Yeah.
You can do it,
Yeah.
man. Just use the images. What's DC gonna sue you? What are they gonna get?
They might get my Batman 423.
Oh, forget everything I
know.
just said. Holy moly.
Yeah, I
can't
mean, it's
have
going to be
that.
worth. We will be able to put us through college after a few years of that.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, baby.
Let me open up the other browser here
Okay.
to get to the emails.
Right. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying that book. That was the sequential art or
Sequart.
Sequart.
Yeah. Sequart. I don't know how you say
Sounds
it.
like a
but,
Tupperware company.
It might be.
Yeah. That's what it sounds like to me, making Tupperware and anatomy books.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay. What do we got cooking here? Chris,
Alrighty.
you hit us.
It's so weird using Teams now because usually when we had Skype and I'd flip to the other screens, like I'd have a little pop out of you in the corner.
Okay.
Now I don't.
Well,
I don't know if there's a way to
I
make
can
that happen
ask
or
Bada
not.
Bot. Maybe he can work on that. Nope.
No, not today.
Nope. You're
Not
out of
today.
luck.
He's stretched to his very limits
You
today
better
with all
believe
this
it.
new technology.
Holy moly.
Alrighty, so
right.
we got
Yes.
hello the Bada Bin Show. My faith in the universe has been restored. I recently saw the new DC Finest releases for 2025, and among the titles was a Batman volume subtitled Red Skies. As it turns out, it's a reprinting of the Batman and Detective Comics issues from just before and just after Crisis on Infinite Earths. The last third of the pre-crisis Jason Todd appearances, as well as the post-crisis Earth 85 stories that still use pre-crisis Jason. It's not the complete appearances of Jason, but it is a good start. Hopefully it sells well enough to get the rest of the pre-crisis Jason appearances reprinted in one or two future DC Finest editions. I've already got mine pre-ordered, and I say to all the Badabinians out there, make sure you order yours while supplies last. And it's funny he mentioned that because you ever like get like the phantom urge to text somebody?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I saw that and I was like, oh, I should text him about that, and I don't have his phone number.
Oh.
So I was like, oh, like I still see things in like the news that I like, oh, I should text Reggie. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that was 5 years ago. But yeah, it was one of those situations. I'm like, oh, because I saw the Earth 85 stuff in there.
Right.
I was like, oh, so it was a Chris U phantom text moment. And definitely should get it while supplies last, because I mean that seems like how deep a cut can a Batman book be? But it's a deep cut for a Batman book. Anyway, let's Bada Babble. I enjoyed the Bada Bunny Easter trivia. I played along and got 3 out of the 4. He got me beat by a couple. Just missed the clean sweep by 1 year. Lousy Valentine and Beefcake actually won the titles a year after I thought they did. He got the same thing wrong I did. But the new original song for the wrong answer is quite possibly my favorite bit of musical parody ever.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, wait, he says, I hated that song you used for the wrong answer. So
What?
never use it again.
No,
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
He said he
He said
liked
never,
it.
No,
He liked
he said
it.
never ever use it again. You should burn it.
Really? I can play it
somehow.
right now. No, okay. I will respect your wishes.
Thank you.
Yes.
I wasn't planning on reading the Summer of Superman special. You know, I think I didn't order that.
Really? Get out of Dodge.
Yeah, yeah, because I got my DCBS order, and I'm going through it, and I'm about to throw the box out, and I hear something in the bottom. I'm like, what the hell is that? And it's this.
Yuck.
I don't remember ordering this. Why would I order issue 2 of whatever? I don't know
There's a
how many
freebie,
issues this is
maybe.
gonna be.
Yeah.
It might have been a freebie because it wasn't on my bill, but I'm like, maybe did I accidentally click that instead of Summer of Superman? I guess we'll find out. I should probably just check my unshipped items and see if it's there because if it's not, I'm sure there's going to be some decent sales during Pretend to Care About Comics Day, so I could probably pick it up cheap then. Anyway, Chris Yu says he wasn't planning on reading it, but he saw a spoiler on the inclusion of a certain team, so I gave it a shot. I haven't read Superman since 2009, so I'm sort of the audience for this book, with it being a jumping on point for new or lapsed readers. It hasn't moved me to want to pick up any of the Superman books moving forward. Only the appearance of that aforementioned team interested me at all. And I think you tipped the hand on what that team was, right?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
did I? I try so hard to keep like the veil.
It was one that Bendis played with.
Yeah, Legion of
Yeah.
Superheroes.
There they are.
Okay.
There they are.
The team that
Okie dokie.
no sane human being understands. It's just such a muckety muck, convoluted history and
It's nutty.
backlog. Oh,
And actually, we're going to get into that in Chris's email here. He's going to talk a little bit about Legion history.
great.
He says he likes the idea of the original Image guys getting to do the Superman stories. He'd give those books a shot. And yeah, Jim Valentino would do a no. I'm not doing that. He wants to change his answer for who he wants to write 3 issues of action. He's going to go with Chris Claremont. As far as I know, he's never written Superman, and I'm pretty sure he's still a big enough name to draw people in. Would it be any good? Who knows? But I would read it. I think I would know. It wouldn't be good.
Yeah, I
No.
listen. I get it. I understand the concept,
Mm-hmm.
but I wouldn't buy it.
I would, but I'm an idiot. But I love Claremont.
Yeah.
When he came back to the X books after the turn of the century, or at the turn of the century, a lot of the seams were showing, and it was literally like you'd run into like a new supervillain team, the Neo, and it would be like Storm would there'd be a panel of just Storm, and she'd be like, they call me Storm, and like just people introducing themselves to one another, and it's like that doesn't work, man. Like I don't think he ever, if he did that back in his original run, he did it in a way where it wasn't so noticeable. But post 2000, it's like my name is this, but you can call me Psylocke. It's like stop.
Yeah, well,
That's just terrible.
that ties into the Summer of Superman special and the whole, like,
Oh, the slottiness of
the
it.
slottiness of it, and my little complaint I had about his, mini story was like, we
My
get
name
it.
is Clark Kent, but you can call me Superman.
I'm the mild
From
mannered
Krypton.
reporter, man. Yeah, okay, great. Yeah, all right. But Chris continues.
He continues,
Yes.
seeing that Batman 89 figure and hearing you both mention KB Toys and the figures that came out at the time of the movies takes me back. When Batman Returns was in theaters, my friends and I were at the local mall, and we walked past the KB Toys and saw a display of Batman Returns action figures. They had the first Tim Drake, a new Robin costume action figure there among the rest. I wanted to get it, but I only had a $20 bill with me, and I didn't want to break it to buy a $3 action figure. I just figured I'd pick it up at some later time. I never saw that figure in a store again after that day. 30 years later, I bought one off eBay and had to spend $20 for the figure plus shipping. Another fine example of losing money later by not spending money now.
Yeah, but if you're gonna break the bill, you're gonna break the bill.
Eventually.
I mean, you could buy a pack of Juicy Fruit or a
Maybe
Batman figure.
he might still have that 20.
I don't think so.
Maybe.
It
It might be his lucky 20.
Yeah, well, if that was the specific reason, all power to it. But I mean, you're gonna break a bill. There's worse ways to break it.
KB Toys always seemed so dismal to me.
Really?
Yeah, it just didn't seem to have any happiness in there. It was just like,
Huh.
I don't know. It seemed like darker.
Come to think of it, as I'm searching, I mentioned at the lead off of the show, brain cells and me just don't mix, but my vague recollection is very crowded and congested.
Yeah, very small aisles.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Toys R Us, when you look back at Toys R Us, there was no picnic either. You know, it's, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, Chris continues. Here's my pitch for a DC Elseworlds story. I call it Superman Red. After the death of Superman, Kal-El cannot be revived, and Largand Valor Mon-El comes to Earth and ends up defeating Mongol. He decides to stay on Earth to protect Metropolis in honor of his friend Superman. He's wearing the costume from the new Krypton arc with the inverted Superman colors. Red bodysuit, blue cape, and trunks with a small blue and yellow S shield over the left breast. He saves a small child who tells him, "Thank you, Superman." Lar explains to the kid that he is not Superman because Superman is dead. And the kid responds, "I know that, but he was blue Superman, you're the red one. But you've got your S in the wrong place, it belongs here," and he points to the center of his chest. This convinces Largan to take up the name and be the new Superman. Not a bad idea at all.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not super familiar with the era, like the world without the James Robinson Superman stuff. And that was with Mon-El, right?
Yeah.
He took the...
Yeah. He was in Superman, and Luthor was in Action.
Right. But he had the uniform with the crest in the corner, and...
I want to say so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's a good pitch.
Yeah. I like that. I like that run more for Robinson's affection for first issue special, because he was cramming in a lot of first issue special stuff, which you don't see, or you didn't see. Back to Chris. He says, the only time I can remember dropping a book because of the story was the post-Zero Hour reboot of Legion of Superheroes. I'd started reading the Baxter series right after Crisis and bought every issue I had missed in the series from the back issues. I read the entire Keith Giffen 5 Years Later volume and was buying the... I mean, we get into these... Because 5 Years Later I've heard of. SW6 Legion. Do you know what that is? Let me Google that. SW6 Legion. The batch SW... Okay, Legionnaires.
Okay. I have a showcase presents Legion of Superheroes 1 over here. I have a graphic novel rack. I bought it. It was at Ollie's, $3 or whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
As far as reading it, dude, I think I've owned it for like 5-6 years. It's been sitting on
I've got the
rack.
same one.
Yeah.
I've got the same one.
That's a tough sell. You know what I mean? It was an easy sell at $3.
Sure.
But
to
reading
read
it
time-wise.
and Silver Age Legion is like, dude, no. You know?
It's a toughie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking, I bought, I don't know if I can find it in the pile here, but I bought the Great Darkness Saga trade because, like, I wanted to get into Legion. And it's like, oh, this is a story that everybody points to. And I think, and again, having no context, no deep devotion or affection to this team, I think for the layman, the entire thing is ruined by the cover. Because I think it was a big deal that Darkseid was like the big bad. I think that was like a shock. And that's what made the story what it was. But when I go into it and like Darkseid's big rocky face is on the cover, there ain't no surprise. You know, it's hard to... I think it's kind of like reading the Judas contract after the fact. It's like you're waiting for... I mean, you don't even see the lead up in the trade to what Terra did. It was just the turn. It's like, well, you already knew that was going to happen because the cover has her siding with Deathstroke.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. But, I mean, that is the iconic image associated with it, so...
Sure.
Just,
Yeah, I mean, what else are you going to put on the cover?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've heard some good things about, like, the Pharaoh Lad story with the, like, the first Sun Eater story, the thing that I think they parlayed into Final Night.
Okay.
You know, all those years later. Anyway, where were we? Oh, yes. He had read the entire Keith Giffen 5 Years Later volume and was buying the SW6 Legion in the pages of Legionnaires. I didn't really care for the SW6 book, but I felt it was necessary to buy because I was buying the 5 Years Later book. Oy. Then Zero Hour came and the Legion reboot, where both books were now essentially a new version of the SW6 team. The series kept the numbering from the pre-Zero Hour series, but it featured the adventures of the new rebooted Legion. This was not my Legion anymore. I wasn't enjoying it, but I was still buying it because I bought every issue for the past 5 or 6 years. It was hard to let go, but I didn't regret it.
Oh.
Now that's. I'm trying to think if. I mean, I did that after New 52. I dropped a lot of stuff after New 52, but I think a lot of people did that. Are there any reboots that caused you to jump out in history?
Yeah. No. Like straight
Like something
up
you were
reboots.
buying before, like something you were buying up until the reboot. Maybe you tried the reboot for a few issues like Chris did, and then you're just like, it's just isn't my thing anymore.
Well, I mean, we're talking DC.
I mean, you'd have to be talking DC.
Right. Since they're the only big two that actually does reboots.
Yeah. Tabula rasa, sort of, kind of.
No, I no. There's no title that strikes me. It's just straight up reboot. I just couldn't do it anymore.
Mm.
No.
Yeah, that was when I dropped Action.
Really? With the
New 52.
T-shirt and Grant Morrison and Rags Morales.
And it was Morrison,
Yeah.
one of my favorites. And I just couldn't do it. Because, did you read any of that early Action from New 52?
I have it. I own it. I've read a couple issues. I think it was number 3 of the series and another one, and I didn't care for.
Reading, I think it was issue 2. And it felt like an Incredible Hulk story where, like, Lois Lane's dad is basically General Ross.
Mm-hmm.
And he has, like, a flunky just like Glenn Talbot with him. And they're doing, like, these experiments on Superman. It's like, it felt just like Hulk.
Yeah.
Very, very weird and not great.
I have
It
the
was
trade, too. It was a cheapo buy.
Yeah.
It's just not terribly appealing to me. But I wasn't buying Action prior to that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that wouldn't fit.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's that, because I only stuck with, after the New 52, I stuck with Batman, and I stuck with the Justice League, and Titans. And Titans was garbage. Which broke my heart because it was Lobdell.
Uh-huh.
But it was just so bad. It was just so bad. Anyway, Chris, you continue. He actually wraps up with, I would love to see a Sweet Spot Comics segment or maybe a Flashback Land. But you should make the anniversary special. You should make the anniversary special. You should make the anniversary special by making it just another great episode of the Bada Bin Show.
Hello.
Although I may need. Oh boy, I can't speak.
I couldn't.
Although
either.
I may need. Yeah, to make it special for you. So keep checking your mailbox.
Yes.
And we do have things in our mailbox.
Yes. Now, full disclosure, I've had my earbuds in, and for some reason, I can hear myself like a reverb or echo going on in my head, and that's contributed to my inability to speak and pronounce words properly this episode. But I was so tickled that we got the video up. Yeah, whatever. I'll just deal with it, and I'll be a marble-mouthed weirdo.
Menace.
What's your excuse?
I don't have an excuse. I have no alibi. I have nothing.
Yeah, so
I just suck.
we will. I don't want to, put the cart before the horse here, but Chris, you did mail us some stuff, and we have it, and it's very. We don't know what they are.
We have no
Should
idea.
I even show what the package looks like?
Sure,
This is
sure.
a Big Market Tees. So he sent this nice letter. Did your letter read the same? With the
Yes.
enclosed, you will find a little Badaversary gift from me to you. I've sent something to Chris as well, and I would deeply appreciate it if you could both open them live on the anniversary episode at the same time. Thanks a bunch, Chris. You. So yeah, it's still sealed. Chris, it's still sealed. I'm holding on to it, saving it. I have no clue what it is. I'm very excited to
Zero
open
clue.
it. In some ways, I'm angry over this because, anticipation hurts. It's painful.
We've grown out of it.
And I want to tear this thing open right now. But you know what? With the respect to Chris Yu, I will not. I will put it back down here until next week.
Until next week.
And it wasn't ticking, so therefore,
no, it was not ticking.
I think it's safe to keep it down here in my little nook for now. But I am very excited to unwrap it under the
Me too.
Christmas tree known as the Bada Bin anniversary program.
I'm at the drape the lights again.
Oh, that'd be good. I think that would be apropos.
I think maybe.
Yeah. I mean, to be perfectly honest, if he wasn't doing things like this, I wouldn't even remember.
I wouldn't remember either. Yeah, it's because especially we had that break in the middle. That was all my fault. But it was like it's weird. It's weird. It's been a year.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool. It's great.
Oh, definitely.
And I truly appreciate Chris Yu reminding us and doing nice things for us. And
1,000,000%.
it's wonderful. It's great to be recognized. They like me. They really like me.
But we can rule out some things that it's definitely not.
Oh, the package?
Yes, it's not going to be your trash can nachos.
No.
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 It's not going to be Guy Fieri.
Are you sure about that?
One time Paula Deen, Gordon Ramsay, and I had a three-way.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
You said it wasn't ticking.
Maybe it's a lock of his hair. Guy Fieri's.
We can clone
hair.
him. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it's a small piece of tissue that we can put into a petri dish and spawn a douchebag.
It might be a tissue with chili on it.
Oh, yes. Really? That's also an option. That could be it. Who knows? I hope it is. I kind of do. Not going to lie.
It is small enough to be Jim Valentino.
Wait. If you say Jim Valentino one more time...
He's Beetlejuice. I'm not...
You're invoking the song. So, just to warn you.
Okay.
I'm going to have it here at the ready.
I've got two, and that's where I'll leave it.
If you... One more time. It's like a foul or a penalty in soccer. You get so many yellow cards. And then you get the red cards. So, who was the creator of Shadowhawk? Guardians of the Galaxy, Marvel. What was
Rob
his
Liefeld.
name? What?
Rob Liefeld. Rob Liefeld.
Yeah, sure. Bob Layton. That's who it was.
Creator, Al Milgrom.
Al Milgrom, creator of everything. All right, buddy, old pal.
Mark Waid.
Yeah, oh, no. No. Can I retroactively drop a book? Can I do that? Is that allowed? Yeah. So, what I was going to say with this echo in my head, I'm so friggin' pleased we were able to get on the air today. Thus far, video stream quality has been great. I can't complain. And it's been wonderful. But I think, barring you having anything else to add, I should probably go.
That's a good idea.
Because it's late. I should have had dinner 3 hours ago. I should be in bed.
Yeah, it's almost my dinner time, so yeah, it's definitely past yours.
Yeah. And I'm a fat boy. I needs to eat. I could start gnawing on that package. Maybe
maybe there is a trash can nacho in
just
there.
one single trash can. The trash can nacho challenge.
A fossilized trash can nacho.
Yeah. I'm very curious. And,
Me too.
I don't know. Chris Yu, I love him. I love him. But doing this to me is torture.
Makes us itch.
It does. It really does. So, anyway. With that being said, I need to go itch elsewhere. I do want to thank everybody for bearing with us. Again, sorry for last week. What are you going to do? Technology, all that good stuff. But virtual hugs for everybody. Thank you. Chris, what do you want to say to the masses before we hit the road?
See ya.
Well, that works.
And
too.
thank you.
Oh, very good. All right, Chris, next week, big anniversary show. Brace yourself. Bring some books. I'll bring the photos. Let's do it.
All over it.
Adios.